All right, today we're working on this 2004 Toyota Tacoma SR5. And as you can see, this bumper is a little bit of an eyesore. It's seen better days. Over 20 years, it's became pretty rusty. And so today we're gonna work on swapping that out with a new bumper. I got this bumper off of eBay, and I will put a link in the description below the video for it if you're interested. So these are two brackets that connect the bumper to the frame of the truck, I think. And then the bumper. It's already got the steel that supports the bumper in it. So it should just be a matter of connecting the brackets to these members right here. I think this comes with all the bolts that you need to connect it. Right here. So the worst part is probably going to be getting the old bolts out, which thankfully I have a torch, so that'll make the job a little easier. So let's get under here and see what we need to do. This bracket looks like it goes on this side. So it goes on the outside like this. So there's a bolt here and a bolt back here that have to come out to drop this bumper. They might be able to come out with a wrench if you soak them with some PB blaster or something like that, but for time's sake and since I have a torch, I'm just gonna use that to cut them off and make it quick. That one has a wasp nest up in there, it looks like. Yeah, I can get to this bolt from in here and maybe that head of that bolt back like this. Good thing is they're going to replace these brackets, so if we have to cut this off or anything to get to it easier, we can. In fact, I might just whack the brackets off right back here, get rid of this bumper so I have more space to work. There is a wire attached to the top of this frame, and I don't want it getting hot, so I'm gonna pop it off for the time being. There we go, so it doesn't get too hot. Just for the fun of it, I think I'm going to try to use a socket on it just to see how hard it would be to get it off if you didn't have a torch. So the first thing you'd want to do is soak this with a little PB blaster. This stuff is pretty nice for lubing up old threads. So we're going to do that to both sides here. Yeah, just a side note, they only give you bolts, so we actually are going to have to reuse some of our old nuts if we don't want to be running to the store to get more. So I'm glad I didn't cut those off yet. The nuts on that bolt are 3/4. Let's see if we can knock it loose. Okay, we're turning the whole bolt, so let's see if we can get it from the other side. Nope. So I'm gonna have to get a socket on that side too because it's in a recess. Yep, same size, 3/4. That's amazing. I didn't think I would get these bolts off that easy. One down, one to go on this side. All right, this one's a pain. This one doesn't line up. I don't know if you can see that, but the bolt does not line up with the hole. So that's real sweet. How are we going to get that loose? And that's frame of the truck there, so we don't really want to cut that out or anything. Yeah, that's the angle that that socket would be at. And needless to say, it doesn't fit. I just remembered those bolts on the new one have welded nuts on them, and I thought maybe that was welded in there, and it was, so that was fairly easy. Now both my bolts are out on this side. This bumper's loose on this side. I guess you don't need a torch for this job. I thought you would. So the only thing we need is a socket to hold this outside bolt while we break the inside loose. This last bolt, which is a little pain because it's got the muffler bracket right there. We have to try to get our impact up in there and get on that somehow. I might have to get a shorter socket for this. No, maybe not. Okay, my bumper's starting to fall. All right, Oh shoot, I gotta unhook my lighting and stuff before I let this thing fall. Got ahead of myself a little bit. I don't want to rip my lights out. There we go. Get this bolt out. There we go. That was not as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be honest. So we're going to get the new bumper kind of to this place so that we can just put it up in there, slide our bolts in, and we don't have a bunch of assembly to do underneath the truck. All right, so get the bumpers in the same position. So if I line this up the same, it should go right over to this bumper the same. This new bumper came with new plastic, so you didn't have to switch that over. It's already in here. And then it even came with new license plate attachment pieces. So you'll use both of the bottom holes of this bracket. These bolts are different size. They're actually 15 millimeter. Now it still has a little bit of play, so if things don't line up perfectly. So this popped out, I bumped it and it popped out, and I'm looking at it and I don't even think it was in there right. These little white things are the wrong direction, so they're not gonna really hold it in there. Must have been a Friday. They've assembled these little white things are in the wrong direction to hold it in there. And I also noticed that the other side is cracked, so they probably tried to over tighten it thinking, why isn't it grabbing there, instead of noticing that the things were put in wrong. And I got looking at the other side and it's the same deal. This one's the right direction, but this one is the wrong direction. So I'm going to fix this one, and then I'm going to put this one in, even though it's cracked for now, and just talk to the supplier and see if they will replace this one for me, because obviously that wasn't assembled correctly. These are the real things you run into when you're fixing things on your own. So we're gonna back this one screw out here, well actually both of them, so it can actually grab. And now we shouldn't have the same issue. That's what it should look like. So I'm just going to back these screws out. Put these in here the right way. They go like that. And then your screws go in. Okay, so this might be hard to show once I put this bumper in here, but these little grabbers here, I believe catch on this here to hold everything in place while you're trying to get your bolts in place. On the back of this bracket, the part that goes in the farthest is actually a slot. So you can go ahead and put your bolt in, get it started. Oh, great. It's not the same thread. So we have to use our old bolts. So we're gonna get this bolt started, so when we slide our bracket in there, it just holds it till we get all of our bolts started, and then we can tighten them down. I'm gonna scrape some of this rust that's built up off of this frame just so I get as good of a mount as I can. It's crazy how much rust is built up on there. There we go, that's a lot better surface to mount on. Do that to the other side, and then we'll be able to put this bumper up. All right, now we should be able just to slide these brackets in. And as we do, slide them behind those washers on those bolts, just like that. So now the bumper is held on momentarily by that little dog tag there and this back bolt. So now I can get my other bolt in here and then start tightening everything up. For these 2 bolts in the frame, you're gonna have to use your old bolts. The new bolts, to me, are useless. So we are going to find the hole, line it up with our frame. So that's what we got right there. And then there's the nut on the other side. So there's that bolt and nut in, and then the back bolt ready to be tightened up. Okay. Now I'm gonna just push up on this bumper just a little bit to kind of center the holes. Tighten that up good. Those are good and tight. And then this outside one here. So we got the 2 old bolts here. This is the bolt and nut, and this is just a bolt because it's threaded. And then now we just got to tighten these up here on the back, put these lights back in, and our bumper's on. That was really not a very big deal. I'm gonna open the tailgate real quick and just make sure our bumper looks squared up, because you do have a little adjustment. No, I think that looks really good. So we're just gonna put these lights back in. So a little twist there. There we go. And then I'm gonna put this back in. There we go. All right, gonna tighten these bolts back up all the way since I left them loose. License plate holders in, and then we'll just mount our plate right on there. Well, that's gonna do it for today, guys. That's how you replace a bumper on a 2004 Toyota Tacoma. Not too big a deal. Hope you got something out of this today, guys. Until next time, good luck with all your projects.